Hi, Cancer. How's everybody doing? My hot chocolate's too hot. I can't drink it yet. But you know what I can do? I think that's too close to that. I can pull up some energy for you. I don't have my sunnies, but that's okay. It's not too bright. Okay, let's see what the interesting information is going to grace us today with its presence. Because as you know, the chariot is moving forward. One more. Okay. All right. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Don't force it to resonate if it doesn't. You know how this shit works. Okay. Ooh, oh no. What I just saw right there? This is intense energy. This seems like what I'm picking up on in this reading is so there's this lover, okay? And I think they're confusing themselves, okay? Page of Wands in reverse. I think they're confusing themselves on something with this Seven of Cups, okay? Somebody is illusioned. And because they're so illusioned in something, it's causing them a lot of anxiety, okay? And I said, well, like, what is Cancer's position on this? And it seems like you can't leave. It's like you're trying to leave because you don't want to be in this energy anymore. King of Pentacles in reverse. You want to get out of it. But someone's saying that, like, you're not ready. You can't leave because you're my dream come true. You're my wish. So this Empress is like almost like put in jail. And before, I sometimes bring up The Princess Bride because it's such a fairy tale fuckery kind of movie that, like, kids just should not be watching, for one, but it's kind of like an adult movie at the same time. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's from the 80s. But, like, I feel like this is like a Princess Buttercup kind of situation. Like, Prince Humperdinck, okay? Prince Humperdinck which obviously is this wizard here, and this, I want to say King of Pentacles in reverse. Like, the King of Pentacles in reverse, it's like, this king's not always planted. You know, it's not always his duty to just stay put, right? Like, it's like this king wants to get out of something. And then just, like, take you to, like, a secret cabin in the woods. Like, what the fuck am I talking about? Like, this is... I don't like that the Empress is in reverse. I don't. And then the fact that the Empress is in reverse with this Nine of Cups, really like that makes me nervous, because it's like something, this Empress obviously is not in the right situation. And it's like with a wish, like with wishes, like this is like I'm reminded of like Hansel and Gretel right now. This is a little Hansel and Gretel to me. Give me one of the lovers. Give me the male. It's like, whoa, I didn't even notice this Ace of Swords was just staring at me at the top of the deck, flipped up. Like, okay, what I'm getting is Nine of Pentacles in reverse, Nine of Wands upright, Five of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Swords. I'm getting that this person, this king, okay, this masculine energy is not as independent as what he says he is, okay? He's an independent man that needs to be controlled by something. That's probably why he's the King of Pentacles in reverse. It's like he can't control his life properly. So he wants somebody else to control it, which is why he sees this Empress and he wants to control the Empress to stay with him. So then she'll control him. Because it's like, you played me. Five of Cups in reverse. You played me. It's like, what am I getting at here? Like, you might be careful, because this king might be a very manipulative and very narcissistic king. And the second you do something to him, it's like the end of the world. It's like, well, you played me, you did this and you did that. But they're just holding on to this so then they can use it against you in the future. Like, no wonder somebody's super worried. I think they're super worried that you're going to leave. Yeah, this person is twisted up in what their version of a happy moment is. It's like, how can somebody think that this is that happy? Like, how can they truly, honestly think that something is this happy when it's like they're holding you in contempt. They're holding you against your will. How can that be okay? How can that be a happy moment? Like, this person's fucked. Tied up. Like, I honestly, how am I not seeing a voodoo card yet? They're obsessed. Like, somebody's obsessed with somebody, and they hold back a lot of money from this person. Okay, it's like they held back a lot from you, and they're scared that you're going to put yourself up for sale again. They're scared that you're going to like walk away from the relationship and you're going to find something better than them. Right? Police in reverse. This person might break the law in every way when it comes to you. Like, they do everything that they're not supposed to do, they do to you. And they say that they're not obsessed. Nine of Swords in reverse. They say that they're not anxious, that they're not worried about anything, but they are. They're obsessive compulsively thinking about everything that this lover does. Everything they do, they think about it. And they're holding back because they won't venture off on their own. They won't give you up because they think that they're like, I almost feel like this person thinks that they own you. That's why my property card come up for sale. Like, I believe this person just like feels like they bought the rights to you. And because they bought the rights to you, they're allowed to do whatever they want. And it's so premature. It's so unloving. It's so wrong that it's like this person taking care of like a kitten or a puppy, and they squeeze it and love it to death, right? Because it's not right energy. Okay. So let's get this Empress in reverse, please. Man, this Germany card loves coming out. I don't know if y'all are from Germany, but like, geez Louise. It comes out almost like every reading. Naive. See, I don't think you think that this person's capable of doing what they're doing. Like, I don't think that you think that this is happening. But I can hear Yellow Wolf's violin just playing over in my head. You played me, you played me, you played me. And then he says, my life's like a violin. Like, who is playing you? Somebody is playing you. And you're very naive about it. Now you don't want to walk away. Why? What the fuck? Oh, they might be your landlord. They might own the house that you live in. And that's why you don't want to leave. You don't want to push any buttons. Because we've got you and then blank escape this. You have to decide if you can or cannot escape this. Because you're not heartbroken. That's the thing. This isn't going to break your heart. Like, this is obviously some type of relationship that the universe is trying to, like, get you out of. And you won't move because this person says that you're their dream come true. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm your dream come true. That must mean that, like, we're soulmates and we're meant to be together. But this person is like, this is such overkill. Like, you know, if this is resonating with you, you know you're not supposed to be with this person. Like, you know you're not, and you know you're not going to be heartbroken about it. It's just whether or not you want to move. Now I'm getting that somebody just doesn't want to move. They don't want to have to move out of their house. They don't want to have to sell the house. There's something to do with a house here. And nobody wants to sell it because they think that that's a pain in the ass. They shouldn't have to sell their house. But like, yo, this person isn't just going to give you the house. Okay? This isn't a healthy person. Okay, this healthy person in reverse with 10 of swords, done. All right, the situation is so done and so over with that it just seems like somebody is just overly committed to something and that's it. They're overly committed and they're not noticing that they have to move on. Right? Because they're getting played and they don't understand what's going on. Ooh, there it is. Spell work, blackout rage. This person, like this landlord, might blackout rage. And that's why you're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything to you. I'm not going to get angry with you. I'm not going to do anything because you're going to fucking rage on me, dude. And somebody's extremely tired and exhausted from this. So that's why they feel like they can't escape it. Even though they're not going to be heartbroken about it, they don't care. They know this person's rage. It's just rage. And sometimes people inflict rage over you so then you get scared. And then you won't stand up for yourself. And that's all with spell work. That's exactly what they want. They want you to fear them. So then you don't move. Because they're not going to move. They don't care. They don't want to move. But they know that you want to. So by saying that you're their dream come true, that stops somebody because they're so naive with this person. They're not seeing the truth. They don't see that they can escape this. They don't even see that escape is possible because why escape something when you want to be a part of it? Subconsciously, right? Like, I kind of see like somebody's got some type of pull over somebody. Now we've got principle. Like, I really feel like somebody just thinks that they're the boss. Like, they're the boss of everything. Okay, we got next chapter. There's property and land. I swear this is just because somebody's got property with somebody. They don't want to go anywhere because of the land, because of the house. But there's success here, and as above, so below with this act of violence. If somebody's acting out on you and you feel like you can't leave because they're your landlord, or if somebody is abusing their position as a landlord because they think they're in control of everything, let me tell you, you have rights. You have what's called tenant rights. Look it up. People cannot just evict you. They cannot just kick you out. They have to give you notice and they have to tell you why. And there was this woman who was about to get kicked out of her apartment downtown, and she went to the city and she looked up her rights, and the only reason why her landlord wanted to evict her was because he was redoing the entire apartment building and he wanted to up all the apartments and redo them. And she said, no, fuck you. I don't care that I've been here for 10 years. You can't just kick me out of my apartment and kick me out of my life because you want to redo the apartment building and make everything look super pretty. Like, there's people's lives at stake here. And that's what obviously this person doesn't realize, is that like they're trying to make everything look good, okay? Trying to make everything look good and look fancy. Like that's the way that a life is supposed to, when they're breaking all the laws. They're breaking the laws, and that's why this person is super worried, because they're like, yo, can this person actually kick me out? Because they're saying that they need me here and I can't leave, even though I'm ready to leave, I want to leave, but they're not going to let you leave. And I almost think that like this person might actually live in the house with you somewhere, so you don't even want to leave because you don't want to cross the threshold of this person. Like, I feel like two people that you don't want to see this person because they're such a fucking asshole. Like, there's such a, I'm better than you, bow down to me, this is my property, this is my land, I'm going to hold back on you. You can't leave here, you need to stay here. And actually, I had a landlord like that before, and once I told her that I was leaving, she came downstairs into my apartment and stole a bunch of shit. She stole a bunch of movies from me. And the thing was, is like, she was like 200 pounds overweight. So she didn't steal any of my clothes. And she didn't steal things that I had. Like, we had completely different lifestyles. So thank gosh, because there was a lot of things she didn't want that was of mine. But she wanted my fucking movies. There's the Two of Cups right there. This person could have shown up in your life, okay, with an STD. And we do have also at the lake. So I don't know if like you live by a lake or you're around a lake and this is what this property has to do with, because you want to stay there because it's the lake and you don't feel like you have to leave, but this person's trying to get you to leave. Or they're saying you can't stay unless you be with me. Like, there's an act of violence here, and I almost feel like somebody's going to get kicked out of something, okay? And it's going to affect them in some way because this person kind of just thinks they run things. I'm also kind of feeling like this landlord, this twisted ass landlord, could be somebody in your family. And you're just getting sick and tired of having to do everything for them. Actually, this reminds me, I was wondering why this got brought up. Because I remember like last year I was dating this guy. And he was a trucker, so he was like never home, right? He was gone for like weeks at a time, and then he would come home for a week, and then he was gone for weeks at a time again. And I thought, like, I didn't really know him that well. The way that he described himself was very different than the person that I saw once he got home on his second trip. And I thought that he was like this go-getter kind of guy. Like he rented a place, but it was really clean. And I mean, he took care of it for the most part, but it was only clean because he was never there. And his landlord actually asked him to do something when he got home from a trip. And fucking this guy like freaked out. He was like, fucking, I gotta fucking get up and I gotta go do this and I gotta go and do that. And it's like, I was wondering why I thought about that, because I remember waking up in the morning and him getting that text and his landlord being like, can you clean up all the shrubs in the back and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I thought that's why you rented. Like, why are you having to go clean up the property? Like, isn't what this guy is supposed to be doing is like looking after the property? And I was wondering because it came up today, and I feel like maybe that's this landlord. It's like someone's just getting you to do way too much. And it's an act of violence. It is. It's an act of abuse when somebody that's in a higher authority makes people do things that are not their position. But because they're in high authority, they say, I'm the boss, go and do it. And you're like, okay, that's just abuse of power. Like, that's abuse of power. And like, if you're at their house and you're staying at their house, then what else can you do? Right? Like, this isn't like, okay, I think maybe the reason why I picked up the Lovers here is it actually really could be Gemini. You could be dealing with a Gemini that's got two totally different fucking personalities, and 1 second they're fine and the next second they're telling you to go fucking mow the lawn, and you're like, okay, isn't that why I give you rent? Like, so then you can take care of this shit, because that's the reason why I rent, right? Like, I don't need to take care of shit when I watched my sister's house break down on her and her husband do nothing about it, to the point where like this house, basically, I wouldn't be surprised if it got torn down. Like when you neglect and neglect and neglect, and then you force other people to do stuff for you that is your responsibility because it's your property. Wow. And that's the thing is like, if you own something, you can't expect other people to respect it. You just can't. Unless you're giving a reason for people to respect you. People don't give respect if respect isn't earned. Don't give respect if someone's not respecting you back. Like that's the whole thing is I feel like people are so pussyfoot. You know, like they just want to kiss ass of everybody, and that shows that they have respect, but kissing ass isn't respect. Kissing ass is kissing ass. That's making somebody in a higher position even more mightier than before you started kissing their ass. Right? So, like, now I'm getting popped the trunk. Like somebody's ready to handle their business, okay? You have to be ready to stand up for yourself. And in a position where you're getting shit on in some way like this by a King of Pentacles that won't move, who's in reverse, who's very like money hungry and might be getting you to pay for things that you don't have to. And now I'm getting another roommate who owned a house and the septic tank all backed up, and I had lived there for like a month and he wanted money from me. And I was like, okay, that's not my shit. Like I just moved in, but because I lived there with him, I still gave him money because I lived there for about 4 or 5 months, so therefore my shit ended up going into the septic tank, right? So it's like, but sometimes like they like he was awful. Like anytime anything ever happened in that house, it was always my fault. Even though I wasn't even there. I worked 10-hour days at the time. I barely had time off. My sister's ex-husband worked me so hard when I was growing weed for him. I barely even had time off. And then when I got home, he always yelled at me about something. There was always something wrong with that house, and I was the one to blame. It was either me or Dan. And Dan was the other roommate that lived with us. And finally, like fucking me and Dan just had enough. Like we were like, we can't live here anymore. Like this guy is, because he doesn't want to pay for his own fucking house because his girlfriend left him right before they were supposed to get married. He's getting all these tenants to move in and pay for everything. And now I'm getting, oh shit, okay, so now this is how this can incorporate in your life, okay? Now I'm getting this place I worked called Bobby's Place. And this bitch, okay, this owner, she on hiring, okay, I was signing all my papers, she was so worried that her recipes were going to get stolen. So I had to sign like 3 or 4 documents saying that I wouldn't steal any of her recipes. I wouldn't open up a restaurant anywhere near her. She was so obsessed with the fact that she had to keep people from fucking her over. So I was like, what has this woman gone through? Then I realized the very first shift I work, 13%. So I make $250, okay? I make $250 on my tips on like a Thursday night. I worked like 6 hours. $250, and I go to cash out. I go to do my cash out for the restaurant and give them my money and take what's mine. And I owe her $140 in tip out, which means I walked home with $110. How is that fair? Like, not only does the government now make every waitress claim all of her tips, but you've got nasty, greedy pub owners and restaurant owners, okay, King of Pentacles in reverse, she wants to pay her cooks $25 an hour, but she doesn't want to pay out of her pocket. She wants her waitresses and her bar staff to pay for her cooks. Like, that's how greedy, twisted landlords can get kind of fucked up, where you're like, they're telling you that you're not going to be able to find anything, that you have to pay your dues, that you have to do all this shit. But let me tell you, there are places out there that will not suck you dry. There are places that you can work that aren't 13% tip out. There are places and landlords that will do things for you and not make you work for it, right? Like somebody's got something very twisted. And I do kind of believe, though, that it's because of where this house is or where this apartment is, somebody doesn't want to give it up. It's location only. And that's where you got to kind of like bite the bullet and be like, listen, I realize that you deserve to be living in a place like this, but at the same time, you could also be taking a position that's not yours and taking a house that's not yours, or it's part of your mission to shut this fucking property manager down. Okay, and tell this fucking King of Pentacles in reverse to shove it, because something has to move on. And I really feel like, because we got the Chariot energy, I feel like it's you that has to move on. Somebody has to move away from a situation. They just don't want to move away because they don't feel like they have to. But that's where somebody's just standing in front of you and they don't want to move. So you feel like you don't have to move, and then that becomes a standstill when really, honestly, somebody has to move. or you're going to be stuck there forever. And I don't really think you want to be stuck there forever. Because if this landlord is unwilling to move, it might be a little bit too much like, is it really worth everything in the end for you to lose years of your life or hundreds and thousands of dollars from your life just because you want to prove a point to somebody else who won't move? Like, people who you feel like you need to prove a point to, it's almost like your best bet is to just fucking walk away. Like, do whatever you've got to do that makes you feel better, but you're never going to teach anybody a lesson. Like, if they're that strong-headed and they're that much of an asshole that they don't even see that they're doing anything wrong, you trying to teach them a lesson is most likely just going to end up teaching you a lesson, to not teach other people's lessons because they don't care. The universe is there to teach them lessons. Trust me, that's why strangers are there, is to teach people lessons. Not people that you know teaching you lessons. It's like, a lot of times it comes in as strangers because they're unnecessary lessons. The universe will always teach you what to do on your own. And it will teach the bad how to act good. It might take them a while, but they'll get it. Anyways, Cancer. I hope this makes sense. This was a pretty good reading. Like, I'm glad I picked up this narcissist asshole who just seems to think that they can do whatever they want because they're the boss. Like, yeah, wait until you have no employees and nobody will work for you and nobody will live with you and nobody will come around you, because that's entitled people, man. Like, entitled people act like that. Like, nobody wants to be around them anymore because they're such a brat. Like, like, entitled people act like brats. Like, do you really want to hang out with a bunch of brats? Like, that's like, oof. I can't even look at them, let alone fucking talk or hang out with them. Like, oh, are you a bratty person? Okay, then walk away from me right now. Like, because some people, they're young, they're naive, they don't know that they're brats. They got to learn the hard way in their 20s and in their 30s that the world doesn't revolve around them. But then after their 20s and in their 30s, man, once you realize the world doesn't revolve around you, you're supposed to fucking grow up, like, and act your age. I hate when people say grow up. I want to say act your age. Like, if you've been here for 40 years, act like you've been here for fucking 40 years. Don't act like you've only been here for 10. Don't act like you've only been here for 8. Like people need to be more mature than that. And like, yeah, I get it. You don't want to move from someplace because of the kick-ass view. But like, look what this person's doing to you. Like, if you want to live in danger, go ahead. I mean, I suggest you watch the movie The Resident with Hilary Swank and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, okay? And tell me that you're entitled to live wherever you want. Because you are entitled to live wherever you want. But there also could be a creep in the fucking walls watching you. Is that where, are you going to stand in front of the peephole and go, I'm allowed to be here naked? And think that guy's just going to, pull his little peephole down and not keep looking at you? Like, some people's mad ignorance, it's all up here, right? Like, you're the one that either stops yourself or sees the equation and sees the answer and maneuvers around it and is smarter than, I'm just going to stand here. Immovable objects will always be moved eventually. I mean, it's called Armageddon. Literally. Like, people who bullies who want to stand there like this, there are cranes, there are tornadoes, there are Armageddons, there are natural disasters and equipment that can move these people out of the way. Trust me. So, Cancer, this is when triumph meets an immovable object. That's what this is. Age over beauty. Peace. Don't hurt each other, okay? Be good out there.